Today I would like to take a look at common misconceptions and stereotypes about Germany that many people still have and many people may believe are true, but the reality seems a bit different. So let's start with the first one, and it's a pretty common one: German punctuality. So many people think that Germans are always on time, never too early, never too late, and Germans think the same or hold other people to the same standard and are quite, how do I say this? Um, you see often pictures of Germans that berate someone for being only a minute late or something. But the reality is that even in Germany, people don't always arrive punctually. And I mean, just as a little example, as any German can tell you, the German train system is the perfect example to show that Germany is not the thing it's lived up to be by other people when it comes to punctuality. It is even in a joke that pretty much every German understands, that the trains don't come on time and they will never. Like, expecting 15 minutes of delay is pretty much the standard. And if the delay is only 15 minutes, then you can call yourself lucky, because delays of half an hour or an entire hour, or the train just not coming at all, are more common than you would like or think if you never been in Germany. And I think that pretty much encapsulates the thing I want to talk about in this video. People think of Germany as kind of this country in which everything just works and everything is on time and punctual, and Germans are perfect workers. And I know that most people today have a better image of Germany, like not the classical lederhosen and dirndl stereotypes, but I think that there's still many beliefs about Germany that don't hold up, and that is what I want to talk about in this video. Now that we established the focus of this video, let's take a look at the next thing people often think about Germany. Many people think Germany is a country in which orders and laws and rules are everything. But, I mean, this is kind of a sword with two edges. On one side, you can say that Germany definitely is a country which is deeply buried in bureaucracy, and oftentimes bureaucracy takes precedent over things that really matter. But on the other side, in the daily lives of most Germans, I think that laws, rules, and orders are a thing that are just like in every other country. Things that you don't necessarily want to break, but sometimes Germans are just like any other people and think, well, why shouldn't I go over the street? Even if the light is red, there's no car coming in sight. And I think that it's getting more and more over the years. Especially with younger people, you can see that the stereotype of the orderly German is not necessarily dying, but you definitely see a difference. But that is not to say that's only young people. You can see that even older folks do it nowadays, and I think that is just something that is portrayed differently in the media outside of Germany. But if you look at Germany from within, you definitely don't see this orderly society that most people think of when they think of Germany. Now we come to small talk. Well, how do I say this? In Germany we don't, but still have a kind of small talk, but it's probably very different from other countries. In America, for example, You often have people that are like, well, how's your day going? And things like that, just to have a conversation. And well, in Germany, if someone asks how your day is going, they are like really interested how your day is actually going and not just to start a conversation. In Germany, people say the things they want to hear. So, for example, if you ask someone, say to someone, well, how about we go to get a coffee and talk about this and that, and that person, if you say yes to that, that person expects you to come with them to that coffee shop and sit down with them and talk about what they want to talk about. It's not something like a simple small talk. Germans oftentimes, well, we don't always talk about serious things, but at the same time, we don't have this chit chat about some random stuff. Um, for example, a thing that's often used in cartoons is like, well, if you don't know, talk about the weather. That's something everyone talks about, but Germans talking about the weather are like actually talking about the weather and how they think it's going. It's pretty serious for them in that example. So you can say that we have the sort of small talk culture that is just very different from other countries, and most people are surprised when they see that Germans are like, just small talk is not just something that is, oh yeah, just let's do that, this, that. Germans are like serious about that stuff. Now for something that is true or false depending on your perception. It is about humor. Like most things, humor is something that depends on the viewpoint and is different for basically every person. So the sentence that Germans don't have humor is a bit weird if you think about it, because I mean, if I go to an for example, a British comedian and don't find it funny, am I allowed to say that Brits don't have humor because I didn't like the show of that one comedian? The same goes for Germany. I think that Germany has a different kind of humor from other countries. The humor in Germany is very self-deprecating, I think, and like about laughing about yourself in contrast to other countries. But that is not true for all kinds of German comedy. There is like this boomer humor that goes around, which is basically, haha, I don't like my wife, beer is the best thing, and stuff like that. But many Germans also embrace like the more international humor with memes and such. So I would think that saying Germany has no sense of humor is basically a joke in itself if you think about it, because that is something Germans often joke about, that we don't have humor. So it itself is basically, the sentence that Germans don't have humor in itself is the evidence for the fact that Germans do have humor, because we say that about ourselves, so it's kind of funny. And lastly, for this video, I have a topic that is very important to me and many people in Germany, and that is about that still many people, especially older people, think that all Germans are Nazis, or that Nazi culture is still a thing in Germany. The sad truth is that in Germany there are many small but extremist groups in Germany that are ranging from far left to far right, although there definitely is, especially in last years since the pandemic started, a surge of far right movements that are cropping up in Germany. For example, there is a party called Dritter Weg or the Third Way, which is a well-known neo-Nazi organization, as well as the now forbidden NPD, which was and still is a nationalist party, and in parliament there is a very populist party that even is under surveillance. So you can definitely see that in Germany there is still a problem with far right extremists, but that doesn't mean that the entire country is full of Nazis. Many people and the overall populations are anti-Nazi and anti-far right, so I think it's unfair to say that all Germans are Nazis. There definitely is still a problem with things like far right groups and desecration of other religions and minorities, but I think it's unfair to say that that counts for the entire country. I mean, just because there are like Ku Klux Klan members in America doesn't mean that the entire country is racist. So I think it's unfair to put that label on Germany. But most people, I hope and think, know that not all Germans are Nazis, especially nowadays. But that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed the video and liked it. If so, please like or subscribe. Both would mean a lot to me. And I think about doing another video because there are still many things to talk about. So leave your thoughts in the comments and have a nice day.